Yes.
Stare at them if they walk in.
Gary, this guy.
I'm Caleb Hayes. This is Laura Thompson. Laura has her beautiful son, who is how old?
6 months.
6 months. Got a 6-month old with us today, and we're just excited to be here. So before I get started, all right. This is an intelligence test for you guys. What am I holding here?
Light
A
bulb.
light bulb. You told me you guys are smart. You proved it, right? Here's a light bulb. I like to talk. I like to kind of strange. I like to look at things and then go and ask you questions. So, yeah. Okay. So it's a light bulb. How many of you guys would like to invent the light bulb?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just a penny. I just want a penny on every light bulb, right? It would be a great invention.
Even the LED light bulb, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, this is an LED light bulb. I may or may not have stolen from my hotel room this morning. But I left them $20.
Okay,
So hopefully that's it. Yeah, so with this though, anybody know how many times Thomas Edison failed before he figured out the light bulb?
Thousands.
1,000, yeah. 1,000. He screwed up 1,000 times before he could get this light bulb. And this class is about 6 personal perspectives and who we need to become in order to do great things. Who we need to become in order to hit business objectives in our life. And hopefully one of you guys will create another light bulb here after this class. So great. All right, so you guys have your workbook. We're just gonna get right into it. This is a class, you guys, that typically you can do a 4-hour class for this, and you can do a 15-minute class for this, and we're gonna do it for an hour. So we're gonna hammer through it and see what we can accomplish. So the first activity you guys have on page 1, 6 personal perspectives, is commit to what? Has anybody taken this class before? Self-mastery. There we go. Commit to self-mastery. So we're gonna go over all of them and we'll dive into each one as we go. If you want to follow along right in. All right, what's number 2? Commit to the 80-20 principle. Yes. Oh, there. E to B, move into number 3. Which stands for
Entrepreneur to purposeful.
purposeful. There we go. Nice, nice. All right, number 4. Make
Being learning based.
being learning based the foundation of your action plan.
Thanks.
Being learning based was number 4. Number 5. Yes. Remove your limiting beliefs. Number 6. Be accountable.
Change my profile.
Several of them.
I know we were advanced.
Yeah, it's advanced learners. All right, so let's dive into each one. Let's start with commit to self-mastery. What comes to mind when you guys think of self-mastery? Where does your mind usually go when you hear that?
Working on yourself, being better tomorrow than you are today.
Sure. Yeah, working on yourself.
Time over tasks or consistency.
Time on task over time. Yeah, consistency. Oh, commit. You guys have some space over where it says define self-mastery. I'll give you the definition of that in a minute. But how about commit? I'd like you guys to write commit. I want you to write your definition of commit.
Somebody's not.
I thought this was a Miller Lite.
Probably
You know,
somebody
somebody else thought that too. It's just water. I got a
We have a secret stash somewhere.
Yeah, right.
How we get through the day?
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to mute people as they come in. I apologize.
All right, so somebody want to share, what's your definition of commit?
Dedication.
Dedication. What does commit mean to you?
Do what you say you're gonna do
Do what you say you're gonna do,
and when you're gonna do it.
when you're gonna do it, yeah.
Doing whatever it takes to accomplish your goal.
There you go. All right, so you're tying it to a specific event or a goal. I commit to doing X, and commitment to you is when you actually accomplish it, right? Because that's what you're saying, you're tying it to something. All right, the definition of self-mastery, if you guys want to write this down, the possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make one the master of a subject.
Can you say that one more time?
I know.
The possession of great knowledge and skills, no. The possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits that make one the master of a subject. What about sports? Anybody think of sports? No.
Always.
No. Like I think of people at the top, like when I think of like professional athletes sometimes, when I hear them to self-mastery because they're committing to beating their time, better score, shooting better, you know, whatever it is. And you can see people at their best working to beat themselves most of the time. You look at the greats, look at the really great people, they weren't competing with anybody other than themselves. They're committed to really mastering it themselves. How about commitment? Do you think that there's varying degrees in commitment?
Oh, yeah.
In your business, what are you committed to in your business? You don't have to share this, but just go internal for a second. What's a commitment to self-mastery you can making inside your business? Do you have one? I can overwhelm my brain sometimes with like a bunch of ideas, a bunch of tasks, a bunch of opportunities, and I'm very careful when I commit to the test of this. And I'm very careful when I commit to, because commit is a lot. Like gentleman back said, it's I'm going to do this. I said I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. But what are you committed to in your business? What self-mastery are you committed to? Let's talk about your goals for a minute. Think about your goal you have for business right now. You don't have to spit it out or anything like that, but I just want you to think about it. And then I want you to think about this. Was it hard for you to think about what your goal actually is? Like when I said, think about your goal, like think about it again, whatever that goal is. If it's hard for you in your mind to see that goal right now, when I ask you that question, the chances of you committing to actually getting it, it diminishes quite a bit, right? We have to write our goals down. There's a really great Harvard business study about the fact of actually writing the goals down and you're making the commitments to them. And the people who actually accomplish them, who write them down, and who can see them in their brain, it's off the charts. I don't have the statistics, but it's very, very high that your chances of accomplishing that goal go way up when you write them down. I'm gonna give you guys just one tip that I use personally. There's all sorts of tricks like this out there, but when you write one goal down that you want to accomplish this year, write your one goal, and we'll go into a 411 in a minute. This is kind of separate to that. Is write your one goal and then write 1 through 20 on a sheet of paper, right underneath it, and then ask yourself on each one of those. You have to come up with 20 options that will help you hit that goal by themselves. And the reason we make 20 is very hard to do. But so if you go, I'm going to take 12 listings, and number one is okay, I have to get in a deep relationship with a builder who builds 25 houses a year. Right, you see how that accomplishes the goal, the one goal. It's a great way to, we sometimes stop ourselves and say, okay, that's the goal I want, but then we don't ask our brain enough questions to help us solve the production of where we want to go. One thing we don't talk about a lot in self-mastery, because self-mastery is like we're pursuing towards something to be better, is our strengths and weaknesses. How many of you guys know your strengths and weaknesses? That pretty good, pretty good idea? Yeah, you're like, I'm good, I know I'm good at this. I know. Anybody take the Clifton Strengths Finders? You guys know what I'm talking about? You have yours? Did anybody else have, you have Clifton Strengths Finders? Yeah, I found that incredibly eye-opening. Once I took that test. So if you guys haven't taken that, I'd encourage you to. It's a really great, like, just get to know yourself. Gives you top 5 characteristics of who you are. Do you remember what you were talking?
I've done mine more than once, and the last time I did it was probably 5 years from the first time I did it.
Right.
And one word was different. Then it changed from the time I took it 5 years previous.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Mine was the same way.
Yeah,
Almost-
there
it
was one word
was
that
two.
was different.
Yeah. Do you remember what your top strength was?
The woo,
The what?
the woo.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's like the high in the disc. The woo is like winning people over.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yes, so now self-mastery is being in tune with your strength and then playing in that field, right? Knowing what that is. Anybody else know their strengths, top strengths? Yes.
Achiever.
Achiever, okay. Okay, so you like to get things done, right? I think it's different than, are you an activator too?
Yep.
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
My
shit.
wife, yes, my wife, I'm an activator, and achiever, and I drive my thing nuts sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm already on step 6, and my husband's like, what are we
What are
talking
we
about?
doing now?
Yeah.
Yes. So, but see, when you know those things about you, the other cool thing is when you start using your strengths in service. That's when it's really fun too. So not only in the professional sense, but if you want to give and serve, you can put those to use. I want to say one more thing before I move on to the next principle, but when we know our strengths, we should also really know our weaknesses. I think that we, as a society, a lot of times, and I know I did this a lot, when I knew I wasn't good at something, I'd work at it, like, and I tried to be better at it. But in the business sense, you guys, what I would really like for you to take away is that it's okay to have weaknesses, and it's okay to work on your strengths. Like, I didn't give myself enough permissions to be an activator, be an achiever, or competitive, or whatever it is, and work in that, work inside your strengths. And the same goes for your weaknesses. We don't always have to. I think we overcompensate for our weaknesses a lot of times and try to fix our weaknesses. When in reality, you want to accomplish some really great results. It's just run in your strengths. All right, let's talk about commit to the 80-20 principle. Who knows what this is? I don't know if you know what this is.
Spend your time on the 80% or the 20% that matters, and let the 80% will work itself out.
Do you guys know what they mean? Just get a gauge on the room. Most of you guys have heard of it. Yeah. Okay, yeah, exactly. 20%. 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. And it goes across everything. 20% of all producers, real estate agents do 80% of the business. That's what happens. I'll ask you a tough question right now. I'll just look down and say this, but like internally, think about it. Are you in the top 20%? Be really honest with yourself in terms of production in your business. And then if that answer is no, are you hanging out with people who are? If that answer is no, I'll work on it. I'll try to surround myself more with people doing this amount of business, right?
Not as close to you as I
When we focus on the 20% that matters, we get 80% of the results we want. Who knows what a success list is? One thing, you know what a success list is? Oh, to-do list, you guys know what to-do list is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool, so, a success list is where you apply the principle to your to-do list. Okay, you list 10 things out on your to-do list. There's 2 things on there typically that are gonna produce 80% of your results. So it's no longer enough. Then when you gotta challenge what's on your to-do list, we gotta always challenge it. Things that we put on there all the time. We put on there because it feels good to scratch off, right? Or you get that endorphin rush of getting something done and you scratch it. But a to-do list is kind of the first step. This is the stuff that you've done in your business. The success list is 20%. You apply the 80-20 rule. 2 out of the 10 tasks are going to produce 80% of the results you want in your business. And then this also gets into when you start hiring people, right? When you hire those people, which priority are they going to work on? You got to constantly be prioritizing and working on that stuff together.
Caleb, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So what do you do with the 8 that don't apply?
No,
Do you not do them, or do you find where they fit, or leverage you personally? Leverage and delegate them?
I'll delegate them, but usually I'll trash most of them.
Oh, wow.
Most
Okay.
of them. Well, yeah, because if you think about it, you want your key people working on the top priorities,
Right.
right? You want your key people working on their most productive things for them in their lives as well, and your business. So it amazes me. It amazes. I'll give you a funny story. This drives like your MCA's nuts or things like this, but
Yeah.
if somebody sends you something, they're like, hey, we need all this information. And they're like, I got like these 5 things that like this, they need information on their company for whatever reasons. I used to tell them to store it away. And then they're like, what? I'm like, just don't fill it out, you don't need it. And I said, trust me, if it's important, it will come to the top again. If it's something that absolutely has to happen, it will come to the top again. How many of you guys' priorities have shifted immediately because of some life event? You're driving somewhere and all of a sudden, boom, your whole, you just went from a to-do list to a success list based on emergency, right? We don't have that same sense of urgency typically with our success. We always put ourselves last, like, hey, but we want to be able to, boom, have priorities, be the highest urgent active things that we're working on based on the 80-20 principle being, these are the most important things what they are. Big shocker, if you work at Keller, what's the big item that we should be doing every day in time blocking for us to be successful? It kind of shortcutted it for us, but this is where it comes from, right? Any more questions on the success list? No? Yeah, on your to-do list, the other 8 items, I for sure trash the bottom 2, for sure. Don't. And another thing with success list is that we don't ask ourselves enough right out of the one thing. What is the one thing such that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? Right? Asking that of each what item you have on your success list. Sometimes we do a to-do list. We think we got a success list really to add in, but I guarantee you, if you picked your success list up and gave it to Gary Keller, I wonder what he would do with that. You know what I mean? Yeah, probably, because he works on stuff differently than we do, right? But there's something we can learn from that, right? There's something that we can apply to our lives with that as well. All right, we gave you, you guys have a, they may need to repeat the one thing statement. Were you guys able to write that down? I wasn't. Can I repeat it? No, yes, I can repeat it. What is the one thing such that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? All right, let's go. What's one thing that we can do that would make your business? Let's dive a little bit deeper on before you brush over. What is one thing in your business such that by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary?
Schedule 1 listing appointment a day.
Schedule 1 listing appointment a day. Because that does what?
Target listings,
I get listings, which does what?
gives you more money.
Which does what?
Helps my family.
There we go. Yeah, which does what?
Allows me to buy more houses.
Okay, so we get into passive
Yeah.
income.
Marketing for new houses and finance too, off of that.
Any about that next time you put your success list together is what, if you gave Gary Keller, would he agree with your the items that you think are top priority? All right, on the next page, we have a 411. Raise your hand if you've done a 411 before. Awesome. Raise your hand if you follow 411 weekly. Okay, all right, great. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on this. We did a video on it. We'll do a, or we're going to do a follow video on it. In case anybody wants to dive a little bit deeper on it. But let's talk about rules for time blocking. Most of you guys, kind of skip right over the one because most of you guys knew what it was. And we can talk about it after anybody else is really deep on it. But on page 4, time blocking. So in that 80-20 principle, we want to be working on the 20 that is the most important, most impactful. And then during your time blocking, we want to be lead generating. When you get all set that lead generating is the most important thing you should be doing. Here's some rules for time blocking. Number 1, be consistent enough to set a habit. How long does it take to build a habit?
21 days. 21 days. 21. 28. 66, isn't it? 66.
Takes me 66.
I think it's 66.
Yeah, someone in our last class said it takes how long to lose the habit?
Instant.
One.
Especially if it's going to the gym.
It's like the keto diet.
Yeah.
You do it for 48 days. That's a one day. you're done.
It's 4 days, which I kind of believe. We don't have any back up, but 66 to build it, 4 to lose it. It's just interesting. So you got to be consistent enough in your lead generation that you set the habit such that you feel off if you're missing it. Anybody have that in their life right now? It doesn't have to be in real estate. Is there any habit that you have that if it's off, you're like, oh, I don't like the way that it is? Anybody care to share?
Me?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I start every morning calling my mom and praying with her.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So if that doesn't happen,
I'm off.
if you're off, okay, you just make a horrible child. It's good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. What else? What else? Yeah,
Make my bed
you make your bed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
every morning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it feels really weird if I don't. like,
Yeah.
the whole day.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Uh-huh.
How about brushing your teeth?
Yeah.
Coffee. Food. Workout. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to time blocking up when we consistent to set the habit where if you're not time blocked, you feel off, right? You feel off. Be thoughtful and purposeful about the items you list on your calendar. Remember to be thoughtful and purposeful. So what's one way we can be purposeful about what we're putting in our calendars during that time?
Bible theory.
Is it
Make sure-
20%?
Maybe is it the 20%? Is it the successless? Is it truly a successless? Is it really what's most important? Asking those questions before we just jump right into activating it. Always time block for the big rocks, those 20%. Right? So you're not only being consistent with it, you're being thoughtful and purposeful, but you're making sure that while you're in that time block, it's the big stuff, it's that 20%. This is a good one. I'm not as great with this as I need to be, but if you erase, you must replace. Yeah. But I think if you get that habit in and of itself, I think that solves a lot of your. Right, if you're like, okay, I'm not going to build the habit of time blocking, but I'm going to build the habit of if I erase, I replace, which I think is easier, maybe. But if you just like that one key trigger, I think if you just make that a habit, I think that makes everything else kind of fall into place. So if you erase, you must replace. What happens if, back to number 3, if you're not time blocking your big rocks? The key priorities that make you successful for what you do. If you're not working on your priorities, whose priorities are you working on?
Everyone else's.
Everyone else's.
So are you driving your life in the direction you want to go? Or are you following the path of somebody else? Right? Are you following somebody else's goals? Here are some protect your time block. Number 1, build a bunker. What does that mean? You guys heard this before? Build a bunker. What does that mean?
Place where-
Distractions.
Yeah, hunker down and eliminate your distractions.
Okay, yeah.
Don't look at email. Don't look at your text messages.
Yeah, we're getting.
Remove distractions.
Yeah, so just specific build a bunker, just a bunker. We're gonna get to that. You're right on.
A place where, have a place where you can not be disturbed.
Yeah, where they nobody can get you.
Yeah.
At this point of a bunker, right? So it's a place where you can't be disturbed, people can't get at you. Number 2, to protect your time blocking, you have a bunker you go to and then you store provisions. What is that?
Have your water in there.
You don't see.
Working.
Yep, water, food, some of lunchtime, it's your time block time, right? Store provisions. I love this one, sweet reminds, and that kind of talks about your time with. Phone, what does that mean? I'll let you guys say, what else is, what does sweet reminds mean inside your bunker?
Yeah, distractions, this could be different for everybody.
Can be different for everybody, those who work from home, I didn't know this was a real thing, but like, if my wife works from home and there's laundry to do, that's a mind for.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs.
Dogs,
Mine's like
kids.
dogs.
Right, yeah, so what other sweet reminds inside your bunker? But like, see, the laundry doesn't bother me at all. I didn't sleep for that, right? But for you, what does it mean for you? What is it that distracts you for you? Some people it's notifications on their phone.
Mine's my email.
Your email, yeah, email's very common. How many of us, what's that?
My kids.
Your kids.
Honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, need a bigger bunker.
We're still not upon the
Keep all our kids away
We
from
need a
it.
smaller bunker. They can't fit.
Nobody knows about.
A one person bunker.
The 4th thing is enlist support. So hire someone to corral your kids.
You
Right.
guys should have put a safe room in your house. You just built a brand new house. What were you guys thinking?
Once the kids leave.
The
Enlist
safe
support.
room is outside in the door lock. And the house stays
The
there.
garage.
Enlist support. What could you enlist support to protect your time blocks? What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
You can communicate your goals to your spouse or significant other and ask them to help you be accountable to those things, that you don't get distractions or they don't distract you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my husband is my distraction. On his days off, he forgets that if I'm working from home, I don't answer
Your
the
work.
house phone. I'm at work right now.
Yeah.
And everything he does, he wants to come in and hang out and say hi.
Yeah. Yeah, so enlist support saying, hey, this is my time block.
Yeah.
This is when I'm going to hide. Love my kids, but if I see them, I'm gonna kill them. Right? So it's a very close to home here.
FaceTime's the worst thing that ever happened.
Okay. But unless that support say, hey, this is my goals, and you guys, this isn't just for at home, right? At the office. How many of you guys have some help at the office?
If you're on a team or something.
Somebody on your team or
You might
another
wanna put
agent
up a
next
note
door.
saying-
or-
Put up a note, say, you know, this isn't lead gen time, don't bother me, on the back of your chair or something.
Unless the building's on fire, I'll talk with you after. And it's actually a very loving way. You help somebody else accomplish their goals. Most people want to help you. If you guys aware of that? Like as humans, like we want to help each other. You guys know that? Do you share your goals with each other?
I think our team does very well.
Yeah.
Build an environment where, enlist support. All right, so just go over them real quick to protect your time block, build a bunker, store provisions, sweep your minds, and enlist support. And those look different for each person, right? The laundry for me, not a big deal. Laundry is the one on mine for my wife, what she's trying to work. So what does it mean for you? All right, let's go to move from E to P. What does E stand for?
Entrepreneur.
Yes, what does that mean?
You're thinking like a business person.
It's the idea.
Okay, an idea. Okay, yeah, entrepreneurs have lots of ideas. I assume this is not squirrels, a lot of ideas.
Lots of squirrels.
Lots of squirrels. Yeah. Yep. Purposeful.
Focus.
Focus. Yep. Strategic, maybe. You're purposefully marching in one direction. Why would he sell us as agents to go from entrepreneurial to purposeful? Why would they tell us that?
Because when you make your focus smaller, you start to see results. Well, when you focus on getting one listing appointment a day versus 10 other things that are your to-do list, and you just focus on one thing, sometimes you have to go small to get big.
So you're purposeful about taking one listing a week, or one listing a day, whatever the number is. And then an entrepreneur thinks of 10 different ways to get a listing, but then doesn't really get, no, I shouldn't say an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurial is where you're like, I have 10 different ways to get a single listing, but because I go with that shotgun approach and I can create a new website, I can do a mailer, I can do this, right? You kind of are all over in terms of your focus, and purposeful is going, all I need to do is take one listing a week or a day or whatever it is. Whereas entrepreneurial is a lot of times we use it as an excuse to get out of what's actually most important. Instead of actually doing the working to get that listing, we think of 10 different ways that we could get the listing, and we don't implement that, and we go home and feel like different.
So that's kind of like getting ready to get ready.
Yes, very common excuse that we tell ourselves.
Or you think you're recreate or you're innovative and doing stuff, and sometimes that just brings you down a wrong hole, you don't get to your objective.
Yes, welcome to my team. My team, oh, I thought I was so smart. When I built my team, I thought I was so smart. I read, I'm already late, didn't get it. Read it again, still didn't get it. Read it again, didn't get it. Tried to do it my own way. Sold a ton of houses, company didn't make any money, went back and said, oh, that's why I taught it that way. Right? I had a system in model I could have followed, purposeful. Had a system in model I could have followed, didn't understand it. Learned the hard way, said I should have done more purposeful, became really understood, tried to understand it first. Now, I think it's a mixture of both is where the value of the education comes in, but to the point of following systems and models that will help you be more purposeful.
Being an entrepreneur is kind of your natural talent, and it'll get you so far.
There you go.
But
Yes,
until you're purposeful, you won't really reach a success level.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly it. All right, let's go to focus. So step one for moving E to P is focus and writing down your goals and focus again on that 20%. Mentally, I want you to ask yourself, are you writing your goals down? We said it a couple of times, but are you writing your goals down? Step two is find strategic options. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? How can you find strategic options to be more purposeful?
Well, if it's a new agent, instead of just cold calling, because a lot of new agents are afraid to call their sphere of influence, go ahead and call their sphere of influence. That's going to be more strategic. You're going to get better results.
Yep. And the way that you go about finding that is talking to an experienced agent, right? So strategic option might be networking with an experienced agent saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing as a new agent. What do you think? You've been in this a while, right? Strategically, you think I'm playing the right game, right? I'm playing the right game. There's some of you in this room, open houses should be your thing, right? That's how you get business. There's some of you who get on the, God bless you, and get on the phone and you burn it up, right? That's not my thing. Well, there's some people that's what they can do all day, right? Are you playing the right game? How can this be done? Are there different, better ways to do it? Step 3, look for models to follow. Where can we look for models? Where can we look for models? So you can go to MRBA. Attend trainings that attend trainings that teach you the way that you want to do business. So those of you guys who identify that, open houses are my things. Maybe you're in tune with how you are, or Clifton Strengths Finders, you're in tune with how you really like to operate. Find the systems and models and trainings that are overlap on top of that strength. You take someone who's definitely afraid of the phone and tell them they got a call every single day. There are some limiting beliefs in there. You can do it. Sometimes you just need to be empowered to do it. But there's some of you that's just, there's no way you're gonna do real estate. That's not way you can play it. That's just some people. Right? There's some people that they become these. I've seen this super shy person in our organization who was deathly afraid of the phones, but it was her strength, and she just got in there and just kept doing it, and then she turned into a beast. Right? So don't let it be a limiting belief for you. Get in there and try it, but follow the system that work for you, that work best for you in your company. Also, looking for models. How many of you guys are finding mentors for the direction you want to go? So you say, okay, I really want to build a company that does this, that produces this. My goal is this. How many mentors do you have that are doing that? Back to my question of the 20%, and paying over 20% doing no business or not. All right, step 4 is install systems. So we're going for entrepreneurial, purposeful. What are some systems we can install? We talked about a couple of them already. What do you guys think?
Doing that time blocking.
Time blocking is a great system to install. What else?
Database.
Database, yeah. Yeah.
Tracking.
Tracking. Yeah, data, right, getting the data from it. Install a system, like, how many of you guys know where your business comes from? You go backwards, right? You go, okay, so we closed last year. Based on that data, I go back and find out that, do that's where all your referrals come from. Came from 20% of your database, right? Make sure the systems you install work consistently and efficiently. The systems that you're installing, and then you use them for step 5, which brings in the accountability. Those of you guys who have data on your past closings, if you realize you're spending $1,000 a month on this program, and then you go back into the data and say, I didn't actually get anything out of that for 12 months. There's nothing that came out of that. That's where step 5 comes in. You hold that accountable, hold that money accountable, and saying it's just no longer worth it. You gotta measure what you do. Moving your business from E to P is, use that 411 goal worksheet and have accountability partner. How many of you guys have accountability partners? Yes. All right, let's talk about being learning based, the foundation of your action plan. When you hear that, what does that sound like for you?
You're not worried, you're dying, you're not growing, you're not, dying.
Lifelong learner.
Lifelong learner, sure. But there's this, you can learn, right? But there's this piece right here.
You have to take what you've learned and do something with it.
Yeah. This is a big problem I have with agents that will listen to like podcasts or they'll read books that aren't in alignment with where they're going. Right? If you're committed to self-mastery, like you're really working on yourself and you're working on the 80-20 principle and being very purposeful with your business. This piece right here, what you learn, it's great if you're learning based, right? But if you're not turning it into action, or worse yet, you're being learning based too much and you're not doing anything, or you're being learning based, you're purposeful, your goal's over here, but then you listen to something and it starts taking you this way, right? what you listen to, what you watch, how you spend your time, who you're spending time with, right? But being learning based, and then action planners too. I try to do this with every book. I like to tab mine when I find like ahas in them, I'll tab them. And then based on the tabs, I try to do 3 things. And I make sure that whatever I'm reading is in alignment with where I want to take my company. That makes sense? For the business realm, spiritually, it's the same thing. Physically, it's the same thing. Like in business, it's like, okay, I'm reading this business book, going, this is the direction I want to go. I do aha tabs. And you tell me I have a really good book because they're like loaded with tabs. And then out of there, I say, I got to do at least 3. I challenge myself to do at least 3. I turn it into action.
What questions do you ask yourself before you pick a book? Let you know.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, great question. She asked, what questions do I ask myself before I just start reading everything I like to read? So it's like, well, how do you know you're not reading something that's over here, that's over there? And it's what I do is I'm very clear on what my goals are with my company. Right? Very clear strategic goals that I want to hit. And then I ask myself, is this going to take me in the direction of that goal? Is it going to help with that goal? Or is it going to help someone inside the organization to accomplish their goals?
So how do you know that until you read the book?
Most of them, you can do a quick, there's a really great, I haven't sat down as a monthly calendar thing I log in. There's these blinks. You guys ever hear blinks with books?
Blinkist, I think it's called Blinkist or Blinkist.
Blinkist, yeah, I use them for a while and I just switched to a new one that every month they upload new books to it. And it's just a really quick summary
Oh, okay.
of, I'll give you an example. Like if you're gonna make a big hire in your company, you're like, I need to find somebody that's talented, and then you go, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Find books that teach you how to find that, right? And then read the blinks or just a quick summary, a really quick cliff note summary beforehand. I'm very, very cautious of what I commit to, especially with a book. You're like, you don't want to spend a couple days reading something or a week reading something and then go, that was a waste of time. And I have a problem that, like, I have this like really strange commitment thing. Like, if I pick up a book, I finish it. So if it's a bad book, I'll have like 6 books going at a time, but I finish it. So I'm very cautious about what I start reading. So blinks are really great. There's another one, if I think of it, I'll send it over to you, where they just give a really quick, under 9-minute, 8-minute summary of the book before you commit to it.
A couple that helped me out is choosing books that people that I want to mentor from recommend. Then another one is podcasts that are in alignment with your goals, and so that you're listening to. There's always a really good resource of really great books in that direction. So that's very helpful.
I'm glad you said that. The books that your mentors, so like group that you want to be around and work with,
What are they?
they're suggesting for. Be careful with that too, though. You also got to go. They might be going their company in one direction, you want to go in another, and they might request a book that's going in their direction, or they just might request a book that's great. And it's not just business, right? We do the same things with spiritual books or physical books and things like that. I was saying, when you guys ever hear the 4 levels of competency? You know what I'm talking about with this? I heard this, the first time I heard this, I was like, what is this? This is just weird, right? And then I'm like, oh, this is incredibly true. So the 4 levels of competency on your book on page 5. The first one is unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know. We have no idea. We have no idea that we have no idea. All right, we'll use it in a listing scenario. We want to take a listing, but I have no, like, what do? I want to take a listing, but I have no idea what I need to do. The next one is conscious incompetence. You gain the knowledge to move to conscious incompetence. We now know what we don't know. Hey, I want to take a listing. I have no idea I need to take a listing or what to do to take a listing or what forms I need to do or what lockbox or anything. I don't even know what lockbox is, right? We now know we don't know. Step 3 is gain wisdom and move from conscious competence or move to conscious competence. Now we know. Okay, took my first listing. I knew I had to put a sign in, did the contracts, you go through all these things. You're like, now I know, did it. I got through the process, sold the listing, done, right? And then the key is when it becomes a habit, you move to unconscious competence. Now you just do it without even thinking about it, just like automatically happens. Take the list and put the sign and you just know all the steps, right? With unconscious competence, do you think we're unconscious competence doing things going in the opposite direction of our goals? Do you think that's step 4 of self-sabotaging, basically? Think about that for a second. You're unconsciously competent, meaning you are doing something that's completely, how many of you are like, oh, I should not really enjoy ice cream? Right? And it might completely knock you off. It might completely knock you off if you had some physical goals you wanted to accomplish, right? Yeah. So it works both ways, right? A lot of times we're like, oh, this thing will be positive we can do with that, but at the same time, it's like, what things can we be doing that go in the opposite direction unconsciously? Let's talk about limiting beliefs. Somebody give me a limiting belief, something vulnerable enough to share, but they think that sometimes there's lots of them out there. What's a limiting belief?
My sphere's gonna think I'm a salesperson if I call them out.
Yeah. We shoot ourselves in that one.
Your speaker's gonna think you're a salesperson.
Your word, your sphere's gonna basically think you're a used car salesperson,
Yeah.
too much selling.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Yeah. Good one. Yeah. What else?
Oh, I'm never gonna get my FHA buyer under contract.
Oh,
wait, that's probably true.
So I think I had a limiting belief. No, I did not have a limiting belief. That becomes limiting belief. Couple more. There's lots of them, guys. Oh, this one. I've gotten to this thing a bunch of times. I don't need to prepare as much. Get back on your heels a little bit. That's what I love about real estate, man. It holds you accountable only in itself, just the industry. But we always said, like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that deal. Oh, they're my cousin, they're gonna list with me, right? And then you kind of get back on your heels. Right? Start telling yourself limiting beliefs, like, I don't need to work that hard at it. I don't need to earn the business, or right, you kind of overconfident, you become a limiting belief, or maybe you just had a streak of good luck, really great sales and success right after one after another, and you start thinking, you know, you got. I did this with flipping one time. I was flipping, doing well, flipping houses doing well, flipping houses doing well, and then it's like, God humbled me like in a minute. You just bought the biggest loser you've ever bought in your entire life, and then you're like, oh, I started telling myself, let me believe something that point. Oh, I don't need to follow my model. I got this. I mean, you don't need to put in the formula. You can buy a share sale. So what ended up happening was you buy probably a share sale sight unseen, and I didn't accurately run the comps. I didn't accurately know what the repairs were because I couldn't see inside it. And then I told myself I don't need to do all the homework just because I had success after success after success with it. I think I wrote a check for that first one for like 18,000. So that was my limiting belief. College credit that I've repeated a couple more times. Sometimes here's a really bad one, or not a bad one, but just limiting belief going to be a curve where I don't have any limiting beliefs. I can be like the mother of all limiting beliefs. Right? I'm not limiting myself anywhere in my life. You just say it right. You just say it. What do you guys do to like overcome limiting beliefs or to try to identify if you see that? Anybody?
Talk to somebody else on my team.
What do you mean by that?
Talk to them about, that I feel like it's a limiting belief and how do I get past that, or what can I do to change my mindset?
Sure. Okay, so you had a hint that there might be a limiting belief in there.
Yeah.
And then you enlist support. Say, hey, I think this limiting belief can help me work through it. Yeah, great. Right. That's one way. How many of you got people in your life that like just like, that's what I like, they should throw that. Right? Like, ah,
Mary.
what are you?
I kind of wish I had someone in my life that would do that to me.
Sure.
I can help you.
I have a list of 5.
Usually it's just when we bounce things off of each other and our team, we don't recognize that it's a limiting belief until somebody else says, it's a problem-solving situation, really, and somebody else can come up with some things. Then you realize it was your own limiting belief, that you didn't come up with this yourself, because you already knew what could be done.
Yeah.
Didn't allow it.
You guys should like graph out your production. Okay, just get stock, like go graph it out. Okay. And then what you're gonna notice is over the span of your career, some of you guys don't have as much data, right? But over the span of your career, you're gonna notice an arc, right? And that's that ceiling. And what's happening in that arc, you're gonna naturally hit that ceiling of achievement where ultimately you gotta break through and be purposeful to get to the next level. But inside of that arc is where your own beliefs are. There's certain things inside your business that you're telling yourself that are stopping you from going to that next level. There's things, there's like, you can just think it's a cap, you're just putting a cap on yourself. Whatever, some of you guys have a great, like, right? But enough time and enough data will show where that limiting belief is. All right, number 6, be accountable. On your, you guys have the chart, who's seen this chart before? You guys seen this? I love this. I'll be really transparent with you guys. The first time I saw this, I went right to judgment. And this is the 6 personal perspectives, like how you identify yourself. I went right to judgment, like, oh yeah, that person's being a victim. And I just started thinking of like other people on this, but the point of this is for you to internally ask yourself these questions on here. Are you acknowledging reality, or are you fighting it? Are you owning whatever happened, or are you making a mistake? Blame, or not making mistakes, but blaming other people? Are you finding solutions or having personal excuses? I like to draw this. See this squiggly line right here? This is life. If anybody thinks they're ever on one side of this, they got a lot of limiting beliefs. This is life. This is what your life looks like. There are times when you blame other people for where you are, it's just natural. But the point of this chart is for you to help pull you out of whatever situation that you're in. Right? So you can look at and ask yourself the tough questions. And page 7. Your accountability partners. So right now, I want you to write down 5 financial people you go talk to when you have a financial question. Or where should you go find finances? Who's your accountability partner or your mentor? Let's just write them down. Okay. How many of you, that was kind of, you don't have to like, just, was that kind of hard to think about? Yeah, no, you guys, sometimes it was kind of hard? No, okay. Typically what we see is that's pretty hard for people to do. So like, you know what? Good for you guys that are like, damn, this is who I talk to. But typically we're like, oh dang, you don't really actually think about that. Who financially would I go talk to if I had a big investment I had to make? Or I'm making a big financial change? Who would I talk to? Right. Okay, I got another question for you. Would you trade places with these people financially? So on that first list. It's got you like scratching. Financially, these accountability partners, because there's some people that they have a great financial strength, And there's some people that have great spiritual strength, physical strength that you might not have. If they're gonna make it on your list, I suggest you guys take this back and actually fill this out, and if they make it on your list, just make sure you flip places with them, whatever it was.
So you're talking more like our circle of people who might be a financial mentor, or are you talking about our financial service providers, you know, our attorney, our accountant, our financial planner?
Jill has money, she's gonna do something with it. Who'd you call? Or Jill has.
My
money.
attorney.
Okay, but really?
Well, I mean, yeah. Entering into some sort of
Yeah,
agreement,
I
of
get where
course
you're
I'm
going.
gonna have my
I get where
attorney.
you're going. My brain was going like, okay, you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna buy a big car.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's different. If I'm gonna buy a car,
But if you're gonna go buy a business or buy something that you're not sure about, you're not something with agreement over or whatever. it is.
right, my attorney.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
So think about it, like if you go, here's another great thing. Who, if you go, I wanna buy X. And then who's the last person, so just when you're spending, who's the last person you'd want to tell that you are gonna buy that? That's.
Yeah, but that's different than the person I would talk about money.
Yeah, it could, what I'm trying to get at is that there's certain people in your life that will always call you out. They're like, why are you buying that?
Yes.
That makes no sense.
So you're saying those are the people we should be asking
Those are
then?
a lot of times, those are the people you should ask with you also gotta be careful with it, right? Typically, the best people that will sit on board, people are like, I really want to tell that person. I really want to tell that person. Like, that's probably the person you talk to the most, because they have a perspective that's different than yours. And then go through that list. I highly encourage you guys to fill this out. It's have one or two people in each one of those. It doesn't have to be five. You don't have to-
Hey, I think that'd be a good idea. Save us all and we're gonna test it out.
All right, you guys have probably seen the career growth initiative. Okay, I got 4 more minutes here, but on the career growth initiative, this is a great accountability tool. For those of you guys have probably already seen this. How many appointments do you need to go on? How many listings do you need to take per month? How many closings do you want to have? Is the profit number that you're looking at? You need to work backwards from your goal and use this. This could be a whole class in and of itself. We put it in. Okay, back to this point. Education without execution is merely entertainment. I coached on that one time, and what he's talking about basically is this, right? So in order to make this class not just an event that we attended, we talked about it, and then we did nothing with it. Anybody care to share 1 or 2 things that they might take away from this and actually implement, turn it into action?
Dump the bottom 2 on my to-do list.
Down to the bottom 2 of your to-do list, yeah. If they
You
are,
have to
if they
feed the
are.
animals.
If
The
they-
animals is always the primary.
Yes. And then if it is important, it will come back, the animal will come back.
Very loud.
Yes, right. And I think it's probably. Off the bottom 2, what else you got?
I would say identify those accountability partners and actually call them and make that accountability happen.
I have
You know,
one.
like
Yeah, you're gonna make an effort, you're like, hey, I'm an accountable individual.
Right.
And I want you to help hold me accountable. Here's some places I typically like to squirm and not do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you make sure that that doesn't happen? That takes a growth-minded individual to have that conversation. I have one circulator. Oh, man, I cringe when I call him sometimes asking questions, because he throws a question right back at me, and I'm like, oh my god, did not need to hear that. I did, I didn't want to, but it was, you know, those are the people you want to talk to about those things.
Right.
Yeah. All right, what else?
like the purpose law. Like, to make sure everything that's going on your calendar and everything you're doing is more purposeful.
Mhm.
Like-
Anybody have calendar drift? She laughs because she's.
What does that
Yes.
even mean?
What does that mean? What do you think that means?
That's great.
It's like expense creep, but calendar drift. Anybody live and die by the calendar? I live and die by my calendar, but my priorities are in my calendar. Yeah, right, yeah, right. Right. I live and die by that. And every once in a while, like look back at your calendar and be like, why in the world did I work on all that stuff? Like it just like it just like creeps. They're working on things that are purposeful. That's what I'm trying to do. Like I put that on my calendar. It took me in the opposite direction I wanted to. I don't know why I did that, but I did it. And
You're working on one of those 8 things, not one of those 2 things.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it happens at least 6 months, every 6 months. Probably. Yeah. That's your yeses, your yeses, and your no's.
Well, it's kind of like working on saying no more. Like that's something I need to definitely work on.
Yeah, with your strength of moves.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
So I get sucked into every little volunteer opportunity that's out there.
The one little thing you could do is put someone in between you and that
Mhm.
accountability partner in between you
Yeah.
and that decision. Yeah, I don't need to pass my accountability partner, put it on the next agenda.
Mm.
Well, my accountability partner said it doesn't fit right now, but
Yeah.
next time.
Mhm.
Because a lot,
Yeah.
because of your personality.
Right. I want to say yes
Yeah.
to everything.
Yeah.
And then I end up showing up, not how I want to show up because other stuff more important gets in the way. And then I end up feeling bad about it because I didn't show up how I like to.
Yes, yeah. It's actually happening is you're being kind and generous to other people, but you're actually suppressing yourself.
Mhm.
So you don't get to show up as your true authentic self because you don't have
Right.
what you need. To actually then help and give to other people. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
really good. Let's say, so we'll do one more and then we're gonna do Q&A for a half hour if anybody wants to stick around. One more thing you're gonna actually turn into action when you leave here.
I think actually putting things into action, being a newer agent, I'm loving all the training and doing everything I can. But then I realized like at the end of the day, I'm like, I learned a lot, didn't do a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Turning it into action.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah, literally, that's great. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna hang out for a half hour. We're not gonna hang out and just visit and chat and Q&A, whatever you guys want. Those of you that don't block till 3 o'clock, you are free to go. Thanks for spending some time. And we're just getting into Q&A right now.